people or individuals that would be willing to shelter people of the Jewish faith. How my mother found one of these individuals, I have no idea. That comes up a few times during my talk. Because those people hid. It was secretive. If the Germans ever caught one of those people helping a Jewish person, there'd be a bullet to the head right then and there. Either that or they'd be on a truck to a Nazi death camp. So it was very, very secretive, and those people were very dedicated in their idea of helping, period. They never heard of us, my mom and I. We never heard of them. But they just felt that they wanted to help. As I got a little older, as we were there for a while, it started to even amaze me not only that they were willing to share those meager, hard work for foodstuffs, but the mere fact that they took us on to begin with, because if for whatever reason, and this would be a rather likely situation, that either Mom and I were to get caught by the Germans, that same day, not only would that be the end of us, but Klaas, Roefina, and their entire family be on their way to a death camp. No questions asked. And one day at dusk, Klaas told me to get a couple of shovels and a wheelbarrow. I want to mention this word dusk, needless to say, when it started to get dark. My mom and I were hiding on this farm for over 2.5 years. And during this entire time, 2.5 years, neither one of us could ever come outside during daylight hours. Never. Only at night when it got dark, I could go to the back of the farm away from the dirt. My mom could come out, get some air. The reason for that was there were different farms in the area. And as I mentioned, you got good people and you got bad people. The reason we could not come out during the daylight hours, we didn't know who lived in those farms. And if Mom and I were to ever come out, somebody might say, hey, who are they? We don't exist. We don't have a soul. We don't talk to anybody. We don't know anybody. We don't exist, because the next thing you know, there's a truck waiting for you to haul you away, heaven knows where to. Could never ever come outside during daylight hours. Because I could hear them, but I didn't know if they were coming. Well, I'm standing in front of you here, and they never did come. They never did come into that little hole, into the back. It was in the latter part of 1942 that the Allies, being the British and the Americans, started to run bombing raids over to Germany to try and wipe out Hitler's war machine, the munition factories, etc., etc. When they came over there, it was just coincidence that between England, where the bombers came from, and where they were going to drop the bombs in Germany, this little farm just happened to be underneath the flight path of those bombers. And when they came over in formation, up to 1,000 4-engine heavy bombers at a time. And then my mom came up with a word that I hadn't heard for a long time, scary word. Peter, you haven't been to school. School? What do you mean school? I can't go to school. I'm one of them. She says, I've got false papers for you if you ever get stuck. Get used to being Peter, instead of peter-metzelaar, you're now Peter Pelt. Never heard of that name, Peter Pelt. It was with that fake name that I used. That was one of the most scary events during that, amongst others, during that period. And that was this. With the ID of this so-called Peter Pelt, the star came off, and I went just to a regular public school. It scared the you-know-what's out of me. Why? Once again, in my mind, I'm so indoctrinated that I don't exist. You don't talk to people. You don't. And now I'm gonna go right into a bunch of strangers. And in the mind of an 8.5-year-old, I thought everybody was gonna say, hey, there he goes, there's one of them.